Okay, it is officially time for the next A to Z mini rework. My thoughts, ideas, changes, so on and so forth. Yeah. So, as you can see, we are on Heimerdinger, the revered inventor. This is my very first ever main. This champion I have played a ton. First person that I ever got to mastery rank 5. And yet he's so bad. Was pretty reasonable in the past, but it's just so bad. Magic, 100% of the damage. Style, 100% abilities, without a doubt. Without a sliver of a doubt. Utility 2? Understandable. Damage 3 and crowd control 2. Difficulty 2. All of this 100% correct. Honestly, that sums up Heimerdinger really well. There's really nothing I would change about it. A brilliant yet eccentric Yordle scientist, Professor Cecil B. Heimerdinger is one of the most innovative and esteemed inventors Piltover has ever known. I didn't realize his first name is Cecil. Relentless in his work to the point of neurotic obsession, he thrives on answering the universe's most impenetrable questions. Though his theories often appear something and something else, Heimerdinger has crafted some of Piltover's most miraculous, not to mention lethal, machinery and constantly tinkers with his inventions to make them even more efficient. Yeah, sounds about right. Everything's good. His abilities. Hextech Affinity. Gain movement speed while near allied towers and turrets deployed by Heimerdinger. Yeah. I believe that's like for everyone, not just him. That's why he has his utility. Originally, he would just give bonus health regen to everyone around him, but then they changed it, and now, movement speed. Allied turrets deployed by Heimerdinger. Allied towers and turrets. Oh, so just him being in the game makes you move faster at turrets or towers. Like, I bet you have to be in a distance around him, but still. WH28G Evolution Turret. Heimerdinger lays down a rapid-fire cannon turret equipped with a secondary pass-through beam attack. Turrets deal half damage to towers. See, they kind of changed the turrets how they used to be, which very much upsets me. Before, the turrets would they would stay there forever until either you placed a third turret, causing your fourth one to destroy the very first one you ever dropped, and or if they were killed. But now they actually have a set time frame, and they need to charge as they're hitting someone to get to their big shot. But before, it was they would charge whether they're hitting someone or not to get to the big shot, and that because of that, it would cause the very first attack to do the most damage. I think he's way too weak right now, and I think that they should bring that, like, it always is charging up, because, like, that's the only thing that really does damage. Like, his turret's regular attacks do so little damage compared to what they used to do. Like, now his big damage is W, which, to be truthful, before, it was high, too, but not as high as it is now. Hextech Micro Rockets. Heimerdinger fires long-range rockets that converge on his cursor. As you can see from this, I wish I could pause it, as they get to a point, and then they separate. So if you actually have your cursor right next to Heimerdinger, the rockets will go in, like, every direction possible. But if you have your cursor exactly on the enemy, then they will converge exactly on him. Now, they each do their own damage, so if all of them hit one target, it can chunk. CH through Electron Storm Grenade. Heimerdinger lobs a grenade at a location, dealing damage to enemy units, as well as stunning anyone directly hit and slowing surrounding units. It's okay. It's only that good for just like random bursts of CC on a target, or if someone is inside of your turret's range, it makes it really easy to throw that on them. It'll cause all of the targets to attack them because you damage them, and then they'll be standing still so you can easily aim your W. So it could be just, it's really more of like a supporting-esque ability over anything else. Like it does recent damage, but still. Reasonable damage, not recent damage. Upgrade. Heimerdinger invents an upgrade causing his next spell to have increased effects. So that is his turret. He places a very large turret. He can also place this no matter what. That's his W, as you can see, where it just shoots a lot more rockets. And then his E bounces a lot. Yep. And it makes it like a larger AoE and easier to stun. Like that would be the only time that you'd ever be able to place 4 turrets is by having 3 regular turrets, because that's the max you can hold, and then placing like a 4th really big turret. His W and his E can only be used though when it's off cooldown. And that is one thing that I don't like, is I wish that like upon activating his ult, it would change whatever ability he was using off cooldown instead of it only does that for his Q. And I think that's a bit stupid. Like I understand why it does it for his Q, because you know, like it's his turret and everything, but at the same time, I think it'd be a lot better if it just did it for all of them. Now, I understand you'd be able to do some sort of like massive combo or massive stun lock, such as if you threw your E, stun them, use your ult, threw your E, stun them. But then I think in that case, you'd probably want to use your W, throw your E, use your ult, use your W to get maximum amount of damage. So to be truthful, I think that like it would just be better to have it reset all the cooldowns, to be completely honest. I think that overall it would just be a better idea, and it would really help him out. And I think because of how weak he is right now, that would definitely help. Now. When it comes to his kit, there are a few things that I personally have a full rework, sort of. So, as I've said in the past, I've, like, in my spare time, I kind of dabble with making games, but I also used to make a lot of champions that I thought could either be in League or could be in any MOBA game. Well, they'd be more suited for League than any other game, but still. Because of this, I was thinking of a champion that could be like Heimerdinger, sort of, with turrets, but fit more of what I call a better style. So, yeah. Now, what I came up with is definitely not a bad champion, but it doesn't really fit Heimerdinger that well, but I am going to use them as the Heimerdinger a rework, because I just think overall it would be better. It wouldn't really play the same, though, is the only problem. So at first, I'm going to go over the minor changes I would do, such as I would bring back his health regen. I would cause it so, like with his passive, I would make it so that all targets around Heimerdinger or his turrets gain health regen per individual one, same with movement speed. Meaning if you have all 3 turrets down near each other and a person stands next to all 3 turrets and then you're also standing there, that every single one of them plus yourself will each be giving them more health regen. Now, we'd have to like mess with it a little bit so that you're not gaining like 20 HP a second and have like a Garen Heimerdinger combo that's like, yeah, we're not dying. Ever, so you can try your hardest, but we'll just regen all the way back up and then attack you again. So like, we need to have it be like for every turret that you're next to, it halves. Like the first turret will give you the full, let's say 0.1 health or 0.10 health regen, but then every turret that you're next to after that first one will only do 0.5. That way, if you're standing next to every single one of them, it would be 15. and then 10. So you'd have a total of 20.25 bonus health regen, which would be more than that, but still. That's how I think it should be, but I also do think that it should give movement speed, or it should be something along the line of standing next to Heimerdinger, and Heimerdinger only will give you health regen, and standing next to any of his turrets will give you movement speed. And I just think that that's how it should work. His Q, I already said, upon him placing down a turret, it should slowly build up to max energy, whether it's shooting or not, and it should be able to shoot the special laser shot. It should be constantly charging that up, whether it is shooting or not, as long as it has power. Because that big shot is really the major source of Heimerdinger's damage. And I think that it's stupid that he has, like, no damage output when it takes forever and a half for it to charge. Like, it takes way too long. I guess if you're not going to make it go back to what it used to be, where it would always charge, I'd have it so that it was a lot faster of a charge upon shooting. His W, I would keep it the same, honestly. I think it's a great source of damage. Can be like varied to do AoE damage or single target damage. It can burst someone down really easy. His alt, or his E, I mean, yet again, I keep it the exact same. I think it is fine the way it is, how it stuns in the middle, slows everywhere around it. It goes with his kit really well. And then his alt, I already said, where I think it should automatically reset the cooldown on all of his abilities, because I think it's just stupid how it doesn't. I understand that, yes, it would increase his damage by a good amount, because he'd be able to use his W rockets, then immediately alt activate his W rockets again. But at the same time, I think it's a bit stupid the way it is now. Maybe instead of just instantly changing them so that you have, like, it automatically takes the ability off cooldown, how about it just lowers the cooldown or something like that? Because there's been so many times where I've been forced to alt, and, like, I could only use my Q because I got ganked or something like that, and I just used my E and my W or something along that line, so I had to use my Q turret, but I really didn't want to. Like, it would have been a lot easier to use my Q or my Alt E. That way I could have stunned multiple targets, or use my Alt W and just one-shot one of the targets that's currently fighting me. Something like that would have been a lot better. And I think that in general that would have been a better, like, decision. Now it is time for the full-on rework. So the passive, as I said, this person is really just, like, what I personally think would be a better idea for Heimerdinger, but he'd be a bit more of a support over a mid laner, to be completely honest, with this rework. So his passive is grenade launcher. Yeah, that's how we're starting. He will have like a little mech around, like, the bottom half of his body, and part of the mech will be a grenade launcher that you are capable of doing exactly what you think. Like, all of your auto attacks will shoot a blast, like a grenade shot. The target that you actually hit will do damage based off of their AoE, but the AoE that goes around that target will be based off of your magic damage. I don't really know how I'm going to describe that. Let's say it's you and one other person. It's you and Rumble. But instead of using your W, you auto-attack that person. Auto-attacking them shoots a grenade. Upon the grenade hitting someone, it will do your AD. It won't do any magic damage at all. But there will be, like, an impulse, kind of like your E, all around them, kind of like that shockwave that happened. And that impulse will build off of your magic damage. That way, it'd be honestly smarter to attack minions that are next to the target that you're trying to hit over attacking your actual target themselves. And, like, let's say two enemies are standing next to each other, the one that you want to kill more is going to be the one that you auto-attack second. You're going to auto-attack the other one, that way the AoE damages them, because the AoE is actually scaling with your magic damage, but when the auto-attack itself only does AD. Now, his Q would basically be the same thing, only we'd lose the super laser entirely. It would actually just be a regular turret that you place down, and it will stay there. It'll have power from being close enough to you, and it'll just shoot any enemy that gets nearby, prioritizing targets that you happen to have damaged beforehand. Now, there's something with his kit entirely, such as he can only have a total of 4 drones out at a time. His entire kit's going to kind of revolve around the drones. That will be like a second part to his passive, is he can only hold, or his, probably his passive, he can only have 4 drones out at a time. Now, that means that you could actually hold 4 turrets out, 4 of your Qs. And each one will be doing their own damage, but as I said, they won't have the super laser. And like currently, Heimerdinger can only have 3, but in this, he'd be able to have 4. Then his W, instead of being rockets, it would be a shield drone, which you would throw out a drone who would give a shield. He can only give 1 shield out at a time, but it would target enemy champions first, but it could also target even minions. It could give your minions a shield, and it goes to whoever has like the lowest HP in general, not max HP or like percent HP, the lowest HP in general. Meaning, if you have a tank that has a total of 3,000 HP and is at like, let's say you have a tank that's at 300 HP, and your ADC who's also at only like 200 HP, but that 200 HP happens to be 20% of the ADC's health, but the tank that 300 happens to be like 10% of his HP. Now, because of that, if he gave the shield based off of maximum HP, he'd give the shield to the tank. Because, as I said, like the tank has a lower percent max HP, when you have less actual HP, but you have a higher percent max HP. Because of this, as I said, like the tank would get the shield and you would potentially die. And like there would be nothing you could really do about it, because that's just the way the shield works. That way, that's why the shield goes for lowest HP. But let's say you and the champion that you're in bot lane with or in mid lane with are both at 100% HP. You're at your max HP. But like, what is the turret going to do then? Is it just going to give you an overshield? Well, no. Not okay. Well, yes, it will if there is nothing else in the range. But if there is a minion in the range, then it will give the shield to the minion. Now, if you get like poked, then the shield will then shift over to you, giving you a shield for just giving you a shield up until you either health regen or just happen to regen back to max HP, because it prioritizes champions over anything else. So just because that the minion happened to be at lower HP than you does not matter. It's still going to stay on you just because you got poked. The range for this is not going to be very large, obviously, because you don't want like everyone in the world to have a shield. It can only, as I said, it can only shield 1 person at a time. And it does count as like a drone. So yeah. Then next we have the scouting drone. So the scouting drone has a much bigger range for how it receives power. Such as like both the shield drone and the attack drone, which is what they're going to be called, like the abilities themselves. Your Q would be attack drone, your W would be shield drone, and your E would be scouting drone. It has a much bigger radius for how it can be powered, because your other 2 abilities, you need to be standing relatively close to them in order for them to receive power to actually do whatever the heck their goal is to do. This one can receive it from much farther distance, because you are capable of sending the drone out, and it will just sit in an area giving permanent vision being a ward. It won't give like true vision or anything like that, but it will just, sit there giving vision. So you could end up throwing it into like the bushes around the lane and just leaving it there, throwing in the tri-bush at bot lane and staying on the top side of bot lane. That way you can give it power because it has like a bigger radius to receive power. And it will have like the same vision radius as a ward. It'll act the same way as a ward. It is capable of being broken like a ward, only unlike a ward, it will not stay invisible. If someone walks into the bush, they will see it right away, and they will kill it probably right away. You're also capable, it has like a larger radius to shoot out. It'll kind of have like an Ash arrow or Ash's E radius, where, okay, except for you can't send it anywhere throughout the map. You can only send it in like a certain radius overall. And then once that radius is done, it'll just kind of like sit in that position, just still, as I said, like giving vision. But if it goes out of power range, like you do send it out of your own power range, then it will just kind of sit there, essentially doing nothing until you move over it to give it power. Then your alt would be a multi-drone where you basically send out a drone that has each of your drone's parts at the same time. It would both attack enemies, give true vision around it, and give a shield to at least one target, and it would just slowly move forward for a set distance. Okay. Sorry about that slight interruption. Then we have the other skins. We have Heimerdinger. Base skin. I don't know why I'm hyping that up. Then we have Alien Invader Heimerdinger, which I think it's an okay skin, to be truthful. Like, it does look cooler than I'd say most of his other skins, but in general, I'd say it's a pretty okay skin. I wish that there was a bit more to it, I guess, is like the best way I can describe it. There just isn't much to it. Blast Zone Heimerdinger, yet again, it's just an okay skin. Piltover Custom, it's an okay skin. I think it's better than a few of the others, but just okay. Snowmerdinger, I think, is probably the funniest skin, and I'd say like second best out of all of them, to be truthful. Like, it's still not the best in the world, but I do think it does look a lot better than the rest. Well, to an extent. Then there is Hazmat Heimerdinger, which is definitely like the best skin. I think all of his skins are pretty bland in general, but I'd have to say that like Hazmat is his best skin. I think he just needs to have, an exciting skin that does something, like just something different. I'd have to say, it'd be like, I'd rate them as Hazmat to be the best, Snowberdinger to be the second, Alien to be the third, fourth would be Piltover, and fifth would be Blast Zone, to be quite honest. The only, I don't really know exactly what skin I would give him. I'd probably try to give him probably like a mecha skin, kind of like Aurelion, Soul, Kha'Zix, all them. Just have him be robotic, put like plastic metallic looking hair on his head, have like the arm be stretching out like still from his head and everything. Just have him be robotic. I'd also give him put him a part of the elite squad of whatever the heck it's called, the Omega squad for Yordles. I would put him in that because I don't understand why Twitch and Fizz are in there when they're not Yordles. Like, neither of them are Yordles, but whatever. And I would throw him in there way beforehand, and like I'd actually, I'd have it look like a combat stinking skin. Don't make it like a hazmat 2. Like, make it look like he is in combat, kind of like how they did with Veigar. Now, the thing I didn't like that they did with Veigar is that they actually showed Veigar's skin, because in every other skin, he's literally just like a dark entity. It looks as if his skin is just shadow. But, like, in Heimerdinger's, I'd want them to actually, like, throw his body in there, throw his fur in there, have him hold weapons, kind of like Omega Squad. Teemo literally pulls out a darn knife. Like, have his turrets and everything combat ready. Like, I would much rather prefer that than any skin that he has currently. It's just not good. But that has been my Heimerdinger changes, ideas, so on and so forth. So if you happen to know any of the Riot members, please inform them of this video. See if they like the rework itself. To see if they want to like turn the rework, because I said it really doesn't fit Heimerdinger, into another entire different champion. See if you like or dislike any of the ideas that I have said about Heimerdinger, whether it includes the rework that really shouldn't be a Heimerdinger rework and really should just be its own individual champion, or see if it see if you like the small changes that I was talking about with like his alt and his passive, anything like that. Like, I would love to hear it. I would love any constructive criticism, why you don't like it, why you do like it. Whatever, just if you want to say anything, just say great video, man. I'd like to see it. So thank you all very much for watching. Please leave a like, subscribe, and so on and so forth, and I'm gonna bid you all adieu. Goodbye.